Hello, once again, welcome back to Willow Talk, or thanks for joining us. If you're joining us for the first time, Adam Peacock here with Brad Haddin. Bradley, deep in Big Bash mode, looking ahead to the Sri Lanka tour. There's plenty to get excited about in the world of cricket at the moment.
Mate, how good's the Big Bash been? We've seen our international players come back. Steve Smith, mate, he just continues to get better at this form of the game. The whole crowd there at the SCG was there to see him the other night. Matt Short, he hasn't played for a while. He had a busted toe. But I tell you what, you talk about the IPL being the standout 2020 competition in the world. You got the South Africa one just starting with great success. Mate, you throw our international players into this home Big Bash, no competition comes close.
Ooh, okay. And that's from an IPL man who's been going there for a few years as well. Also, it should be noted that we have started the Women's Ashes series as well, and we're going to, later in the show, recap the first one-dayer at North Sydney Oval. Great scene there, full crowd, lots of kids there, some bloody good cricket as well. And we're going to be joined by expert commentator and, do we call him, what do we call it's Wags for the female side towards the male. What do we call a guy like Mitch Starc, who's just a hanger-on for Elisa Healy, who led the way for Australia?
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Mitch Starc will join us.
I just hope his pants are longer than Trent Copeland's.
We will ask him about that
Cope's is a
as well.
Man, but
Exactly.
I don't know what he's doing there. Might be the new age.
Confused.
I might be getting old.
So it was the first thing that Hads discussed when we sat down to record this episode this morning was, did anyone see what Trent Copeland was wearing? Anyway, we'll talk about that a bit later on with Mitchell and a bit of cricket as well and review. We'll ask his thoughts on how he got through that India series and looking ahead to the Sri Lanka tour. And Champions Trophy squad for the men has been named as well to take place in Pakistan and a little bit in the Middle East as well. And we're going to have a closer look at the permutations to the Big Bash, which is entering its definitive week in terms of sorting themselves out before the final. So looking forward to that. Now, before we get going, Hads, good news.
Uh-oh, what have I done?
We're back. Why do I say good news and you go, uh-oh, what's wrong? Why is that?
I thought you normally lead good news that you've done something great, but have you... But I'll listen to you. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
No. We've got one of those a bit later on. But no, we're back on top of the Spotify rankings, Hads. We're back to number 1. So, yeah, we're up on top of that list again. So thank you to all the listeners through the Spotify service as well. Don't forget, you can get us through the Listener app direct or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcast from. We were looking at 850 ratings on Spotify. Well, that's out of the water now, Hads. We're on 888. Lucky number in China. The next target has to be 1,000. So we're going to aim for 1,000 before maybe the end of the Sri Lanka tour. Let's get greedy. So thank you for the listeners on Spotify. Leave us a comment if you want to get in touch, of course. Apple Podcasts, they've rallied, left some bulk reviews. We're after 250. Right now we're on 218. Guru Kane has left a review. My favourite podcast. Just love the conversation, especially as I live overseas and miss Australia. I feel like I'm back at home shooting the breeze with a bunch of mates talking about the cricket, which is what we aim for, Bradley. Correct?
Mate, well, tick.
You're waiting for the fall here. Paddy White says, Paddy says, if you call yourself a cricket fan, you have to get on the Willow Talk Cricket Podcast. Insightful, professional, fun, great balance of men's and women's cricket. Tick. Another one. Fair bit of trepidation across the desk from me. Davo465 says, well done, Hads and Heels. Great insights. Tick. Fantastic. That's all. That's all the reviews there, Hads. Remember to follow us on TikTok, Instagram. Just search Willow Talk Podcast. On there, you'll find clips of the show, polls, questions. The Secret Cricket Club channel on Instagram is the best way to get in touch with us. We ask questions on that you can leave your opinions and we'll read them here on the show. And we've got a couple here as well that people have sent through, just random ones, through the Secret Cricket Club. Andrew sent through a pic of himself and Hads after the Aussies had beat England in Sydney to win the Ashes in 2014. 5-zip. Andrew says, photo of Hads and I in 2014 when I was running a bar in the city in Sydney, post the Ashes win, rolled in with the crew, and I made absolutely sure he had a cracker night, though he didn't need much encouragement. And the second pick is with Hads and Andrew from this year with Hads with the Willow Talk thing. But the one on the left, the one from 10 years ago, Hads, you're holding up the 5 fingers there. They're pointing in every direction, but you're holding up the 5 fingers. Can you remember that night, or was that good a night that you can't remember it?
Well, I was doing a segment at the members bar for Triple M. We'll call in the tea break, and myself and I think it was Jackie Heffron. And all of a sudden, someone comes up and he said, Andrew goes, "Oh, remember me from the Ashes?" I'm thinking, okay. And he said, "Oh, no, the bar." And I remembered straight away. I remember we in the bar, the whole crowd, I'd reckon, had come from the cricket. We'd finished partying. It was about 3 or 4 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
And we'd finished, and we were off there, and the whole crowd was still that pumped from the Ashes. And, mate, James Faulkner owned the night. He absolutely owned the night. Yeah, it was mate, great show. We had some real good fun with everyone, and Andrew led the way. But I tell you what, it was a cracking night.
So from that squad, I'd look at it and go, Peter Siddle would be able to have a bit of fun. Mitch Johnson, he's got that side to him that but
Harris.
James Faulkner, Harris. But he could probably barely walk after playing all those test matches in a row, the poor guy with his knees. But James Faulkner was the leader.
Mate, he was absolutely on fire. He was an animal, James Faulkner. He was 12th man for the whole series. But, mate, it was a good night. I can remember it. And we had a quick chat and caught up in the members bar about it, and sort of, as Andrew was piecing things together, and I'm thinking, I can remember that. It was, mate, the crowd was absolutely pumping.
How good. I actually can't believe you got him with that haircut into that club. But anyway, the old number one hats.
How fit do I look there?
Yeah, I know. He's going straight to the gym after this episode. Now, Ian sent a message through as well, the Secret Cricket Club. I love the podcast. In fact, it's become my favourite cricket podcast, surpassing even the mighty Wisden Pod. Wow, that's an institution. As a proud Englishman, I've always had a long list of hated Australian cricket players with Brad Haddin at the top. However, after listening to Willow talk and watching his commentary on recent Australian matches, I've come to appreciate him more. I genuinely look forward to hearing him on the show. Not only am I frustrated, but I'm also disappointed in myself for this shift in perspective. I actually like Hads. Sad face emoji.
Well,
thank you, Ian. Lovely message.
Ian, I can understand why. You don't be disappointed, because I can understand you. I'd be disappointed if after my whole career as an Englishman you did say you like me. I would have taken
your job
that
properly. Yeah,
I hadn't done my job behind the stumps. But I'm glad he's seen the light, listened to Willow talk, and realise what we did out in the field. As everyone says, what happens out there stays out there. And mate, if you come out for the Ashes, I'm sure we'll throw your hat and we'll share a schooner with you.
We've got to have one live show in the Ashes and invite the entire Barmy Army. And I just want to see the reception when I introduce you on stage. And we can retell those stories like when you congratulated Ben Stokes on his first test wicket when he bowled a no ball.
We need Jono and Ryan Harris with me.
Okay.
And
fair enough. Yeah, okay. He'd be retired by then, so it'd be good value, Sids.
Oh, it'd be much fun.
Mind you, he's bowling at a 140 plus still, Sids. I don't know why he's retiring. Anyway, let's get into it. Sri Lanka squad. So we sat here last week and talked about the possibilities and you plucked another one, Hads. Cooper Connolly, you got him. We didn't quite have Sam Constance. We talked about him having Peter Handscomb miss the squad, but that's what they've done. So you got Connolly, McSweeney and Constance also named. No, Glenn Maxwell, Peter Handscomb, Adam Zampa. What does this overall squad say to you about what they're trying to do with the Australian Test team over the next 2-3 years?
Oh, firstly, I think it's a really well-balanced squad for Sri Lanka. And what they've done is given themselves a lot of options. You got the 2 Test matches at Galle, and we're not quite... we're pretty sure what sort of surface they're going to be, but how extreme they spin. Is it going to happen from day one, and fast bowls are going to play a minimal role with the new ball. So if I go down the list looking at guys like Cooper Connolly, the reason I thought he's an option is if you do get one of those surfaces in Sri Lanka that you don't need fast bowling. Well, Mitchell Starc might be your only fast bowler. Played Webster's, the other one with the new ball. Cooper Connolly could easily bat at 8 and play a role as a part-time spinner and a good field and a bit of aggression with the bat. The part-time spin of a left-arm orthodox can be really hard to play on extreme wickets. We've seen that in the past with guys like Michael Clarke. You're not quite sure what the ball's going to do. They don't put much on it. They own the stumps, but some skid, some take off because the extreme of the surface. It'd be interesting to see the makeup. We've had success in India when Travis Head went to the top of the order. So is that a lay-down misère that Travis Head goes straight up to the top of the order, or is he now a good enough player of spin to hold his middle position in the order and play that similar role? I like him at the top because I think it just gives you such a point of difference, the way he plays. Josh Inglis, he's him and McSweeney, I think, will battle it out for the number 5 spot, depending on which way they go there. I think Inglis is a genuine chance to play a test match over there as a batter.
So that means you've got Travis Head opening.
I have, yep. I've got Travis Head opening with Uzi, and obviously 3 and 4 are Marnus and Smith. And then number 5 is interesting. I imagine Bo Webster will be at 6, Carey at 7, or do they move up one? But I think the number 5 spot could be out of Josh Inglis and Nathan McSweeney, who goes back down his spot, the middle order. But where I think Josh Inglis is a big chance, if they are extremely aggressive wickets to spin, mate, he plays as well as anyone. He's got a different game.
We'll obviously discuss it a fair bit more over the next couple of weeks, but with Sam Constas, is that Sam getting dropped or is that Sam being rotated due to conditions?
If he's not in the team, it's just these are conditions, and I'd imagine he'd come straight back into the team when you go to the West Indies, for example, when wickets aren't as extreme and it's more traditional Test cricket. But it'll be a great learning experience for him. He might also still play. These are only what I think could happen there. So he'll get a lot out of the tour, a lot of learnings on different ways to play spin. They might use him at the top. They might keep Travis Head at 5. I just like him at the top because he can be so destructive to set the game up.
Why is Nathan McSweeney in this squad, in your opinion, after being binned halfway through the India series?
Well, he's the next batter in. It's as simple as that. He obviously got left out of the Test squad. His Test career's not done. Australia went a different way for the last couple of tests to throw something different at India, and it worked. But Nathan McSweeney's time with the Australian team's not done. He'll go away. He's a chance to play in this Test series. He might go slot back into the middle order, where he's made his name for himself. So I'm not surprised he's there. He's the next batter up. Josh Inglis has been around the touring team a long time. Nathan McSweeney played 3 tests. So, yeah, if they're taking a spare batter, Nathan McSweeney was always the man.
And we'll get to the captaincy talk now, I still feel that a guy like McSweeney is still in leadership terms a possibility in not the near future, not the distant future, but at some point in the future. Because you look at it, no Pat Cummins, so Steve Smith is straight in to captain. So Travis Head has had a bit of a role with the vice captaincy. Alex Carey has had some leadership, responsibilities put on him with success and with other outcomes as well. Where do you see the leadership of the Test team headed if there's no Pat long term? And not saying Pat's going to be sticking around for a while when he gets his ankle better and he comes back after paternity leave. But where's it exactly placed? It's a bit confusing.
Well, I don't think it is confusing.
No?
No, I don't. When Paddy wasn't in India, Steve Smith captain, and he's got a great tactical brain that'll work well in the subcontinent conditions. He'll be really proactive in what he does. He has a great understanding on what the opposition's trying to do there. Then the next captain will be Pat because he comes back for the Test Championship, but that's not the answer you want. The other ones I think who have leadership qualities are guys like Cameron Green. I think he's someone down the track. Travis Head's captained his state. He's a good thinker of the game, and now he's cemented in the Test team. But you don't have to rush these decisions. Like Pat's still there for a while. Steve Smith is still there for a while. And you're bringing guys like McSweeney in. You've got Travis Head. You've got Green who started to play. And they're just building experience now. You don't have to rush in making these decisions. It'll naturally pan out the same way as Paddy did. Everyone thought, who's going to be the next Australian captain? There's no leadership in the team. Well, look what Paddy's done since he's taken over. So I think that they're doing a great thing with the squad. They've got some good numbers now of some younger guys coming through. I think you need it, but I'm not too worried about who's going to captain in the future.
Dr. Starc Psychology left an interesting comment on YouTube. He asked, what's the meaning of life? No, he asked, Dr. Starc Psychology, question for Hads, who will be Australia's next long-term captains in red and white ball men's cricket? So kind of gone along the lines of red ball there, but what about white ball? Because they've chucked Mitch Marsh in there, and we'll get to the Champions Trophy squad a bit later on. But, yeah, how do you see that side of the game panning out?
Oh, well, Mitch is there at the moment. We've got some marquee events coming up in the Champions Trophy, so there's no need to really think about it. Then, as I said before, it'll naturally start to take shape as time goes on. And the same guys will come into contention. Travis Head, Cameron Green, that they're all starting to own their positions now. So there's no need to panic about who's going to be. I know there was, as I said, there was talk about when Paddy, who's going to be long. It'll all start to pan out in front of you. There's guys, as I said, in both squads now getting experience.
I'm not panicking, just kind of wondering.
I think you can. Yeah, I think sometimes we can think too much about those decisions. Or not enough. But
like that night after the Ashes.
There wasn't a lot of great decisions made then. But it'll start to pan out in front of you, and little selection things in Sri Lanka are starting to show. Here are the players who have identified for the future. This group of players is still around for some time.
Yep, and there's a lot of tours to the subcontinent in the next few years as well. So Lyon, Matt Kuhneman's got a recall, Todd Murphy. This was the trio that ended up after Ashton Agar came back in the tour of India in 2023. But you can see this working quite well with this deck of cards that we've got in the spin bowling ranks at the moment, despite the fact that Adam Zampa missed out. He came out and said it feels like there's not a place for wrist spin at the moment. Feeling a bit down about his craft in the grand scheme of things. Where do you place it all, Hads?
I think they picked the best spinners for the conditions. We've seen that. We've seen Kuhneman did an outstanding job in India. So did Murphy, and Nathan Lyon is obviously the cream on the top.
Joe Richardson.
Shattered.
Speaking of cards being dealt, he keeps on getting a two of clubs when he needs a king or something like that. It's just rancid luck for the guy. So he's off to get shoulder surgery. Again, he's a player that you love, Hads, when he's fit. We just haven't had the ability to talk about him being fit for any extended period of time recently.
Yeah, and as you know, Adam, we've spoken long and hard about, mate, what we see this kid. This kid's as talented as any quick we have in the country. When I first read that he's going in for shoulder surgery, I was shattered for him. Absolutely shattered. You just think, come on, this guy deserves a break. And then the more I read about it, the more I went, okay, this makes sense. I'm liking this decision, because what it sounds like now, he'll have no niggles. His shoulder will be fine, but he's had this shoulder problem for some time. this will be all done and you'll be up and firing by the start of Shield cricket. And as we know, you need 5 or 6 fast bowlers ready to go for a big series. And an Ashes series, mate, if he's injury-free, and yes, we've got a little bit of pain now, but if he's right to go and available for selection for the Ashes, well done. Well, we've seen when Hazelwood went down, what Scott Boland did. Now we need to find another couple to make sure if anything happens to the 3 fast bowlers like it did this summer, he's ready to go. So there's disappointment as it is for him, and we're all shouted for it because we just want to see him play cricket because how good he is at his craft. I like the decision that he's made to go in, and he'll have a tough time rehabbing. He'll be in good hands, and the plan is to have him right for the Ashes. So out of some horrible news, that there's a bit of a silver lining.
So the first test in Gaul, back to the Sri Lanka tour, starts in just over 2 weeks, January 29. The second test in Gaul again, February 6. And as Hads has mentioned, can't imagine that the deck is going to resemble the Wacker in 1988, if you know what I mean. It's going to be a little different. So you wonder 11, Hads, just spit it out right now and we'll hold you to it in 2 weeks' time. Go for it again. Who's at the top there?
Usman, Hetty, Marnus, Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Webster at 6. I haven't picked 5 yet. Carey at 7.
Mm-hmm.
Then Kuhneman, Lyon, Starc. So I've got a Boland. I think will play the first test.
So you need a 5.
And the number 5.
Ooh, it's a tough one.
I think Josh Inglis will make his debut.
There you go. You've biased
What do you
towards
reckon?
the wiki. Yeah, no, I don't mind it. Lose a bit with Paddy, with no Paddy being at the bat. So Mitch Starc bats at 8. He can bat, obviously, but Paddy's almost turned into a bowling all-rounder, essentially. So
I tell you what he does. He has done. He's under pressure. They'll miss his runs. The other one, whether they go in with 2 fast bowlers, I think it's going to be a realistic conversation if they have a look at the surface that they mightn't go in with 3 fast bowlers. Yeah.
Well, no way they're going in with 3.
Oh, sorry, 2. If they have a look at the surface and it's one that's going to be extreme, that they might say, okay, we don't need that quick. Webster can open bowl, Nathan Lyon, Ken Kuhneman, and then that number 8 spot gets tossed up to, is it Cooper Conley? Does he play? Do you strengthen your batting with McSweeney and Inglis playing? But yeah, I think you just got to have a look at the surface for that last fast bowling spot.
Absolutely. Champions Trophy. So it's pretty much, it's very similar to the World Cup squad. So the Champions Trophy happens in February, March in Pakistan, predominantly in Pakistan. If we play India, we have to go off to Dubai, Abu Dhabi to play over there because India have decided that they don't want their matches to be played in Pakistan. We'll leave that right there because we get it and start becoming a political podcast and not a cricket podcast. It's just a shame for cricket's sake that it's turned out this way. Nothing anyone can do about it, wants to do about it at the moment. However, Australia's team, so from the World Cup squad, I'll just make the changes from it. Sean Abbott, Cameron Green, David Warner, not there. In comes Aaron Hardy, Nathan Ellis, and Matt Short, who went Burko, obviously, a few nights ago at Adelaide Oval. So he's in good nick. Other than that, it's pretty much the same. And looking at the squad, Hads, our pace battery's there. There's not a stack of spin there. So they're going to rely, as they have, it felt like they've done for the last few World Cups, either T20 or 50 over, rely on the quicks to get things done rather than the slower bowlers.
Oh, no, they've picked the 3 quality fast bowlers, obviously, but you've got Zampa there. Glenn Maxwell's more than part-time. And Matt Short, he can bowl overs if needed. We've seen him open the bowling in the Big Bash. And you got Travis Head. So I think they've got all pace bases covered. I like that the one selection I like is Nathan Ellis. And I've said this before because he gives such a point of difference. And yes, you've got the 3 fast bowlers who've done outstanding jobs for some time. But Nathan Ellis is a different bowler. The only time he ever bowls in Big Bash is in the tough times. He bowls in the power surge. He bowls the tough overs. He bowls the overs at the depth because he's different. He bowls a lot of slow balls. He changes his pace up. So I like that they put him in the squad because he's so different to the other three.
Our first match of the Champions Trophy is against England, and it happens on February 22, so late February. We also play South Africa, who are in a pretty good nick at the moment, Afghanistan as well, and then then it's into the semi-final. So just the 3 pool games. And as mentioned, if you cross over with India, you are playing in Dubai. You are not playing in Pakistan. So we'll wait and see what happens with that one. But Paddy at the moment is captain of that squad at the moment. Led to believe that the ankle is an issue, and hopefully he can rehab for it for that particular trophy. But aside from that, that is the Champions Trophy picture at the moment. We're off to a quick drinks break. Mitch Starc is around the corner. We're going to talk Women's Ashes and also sum up the Big Bash, which is reaching the pointy end. Women's Ashes, Hads, great scene at North Sydney Oval on Sunday. Who said that international cricket in Sydney is troubled by rain? Okay, we've had a couple of Big Bashes ruled out and a couple of WBBLs ruled out at the start of summer with a bit of rain. But, hey, we got through another international game in Sydney. It was beautiful sunshine and nothing but. And Australia got home by 4 wickets with 67 balls remaining. England bowled out for 204. The wicket shared around. And Australia replied with 6 for 206. Our captain, our leader, Lisa Healy, 70 from 78, and Ash Gardner, 42 from 44 balls, and Ash ended up with player of the match. 3 for 19, a couple of catches, and that 42 where it felt like she just went, nah, enough of this. This could get dicey if I don't get on the front foot, and really attacked as soon as she got in there with heels.
Well, Ash Gardner, for some time, she hasn't been at the top of a game, but what I like about her is when Australia are in a crisis, it's a bit like when Roy played. They'd come out, they had this power game, they got a presence, and that's exactly what Ash did. She put a presence on the game. I thought Healy was outstanding. Everyone forgets or doesn't really know the work she had to do to get back and be fit. She wicket kept as well. And every time there's an Ashes campaign, you just put her in for leading run score or thereabouts. She loves this contest, and especially when you're coming to the back end of your career, these are the contests you get up for, and she was outstanding. England have brought a good team out, but just when the moments were there to win the game, their fielding let them down, and which is a real coach killer and an attitude thing. So that was an interesting thing to me, but it was a great start. I loved the crowd there. I loved they had near 7,000. It was sold out, and the game's flying. The international game for women is going in one direction, and that's up fast.
I just thought with England, Hads, and you've spoken about this before, about trying to start quick, but if you don't have the prep exactly right, it can be hard. And we saw it, case in point, Australia over in Perth against India. India came off the back of a series, which they got dusted by New Zealand, but they had something to prove, where Australia were a little more fresh and they built into the series. This one, England had their match against the GG, Governor General's 11, panned after, halfway through, weather set in. So it felt like this one, England was still adjusting to being out here in Australia. So what I'm saying is they'll be better in one day as 2 and 3 before the T20s kick in.
Well, I hope not. I hope I hope this is a sign of things to come. It's important when you start any tour away, you start well. And on the flip side, as an Australian team, you want to make sure the first game of the tour is you make life uncomfortable for the opposition. You put them under pressure, see if you can break different times of the game and make life uncomfortable with the presence you put on the game. And seeing those catches put down at crucial times is something you talk about as a team. You think, listen, at times in that game, I think England might have doubted themselves against us. And that's the conversations you want to be happening in the opposition change room. This Australian team now, yes, you've got your experienced players, but there's some of the kids coming through are unbelievable. You got Sutherland, you got Phoebe coming through, you got King. I know she's been there for a while, but I like that the leg spinner is playing against England. So, yeah, great start from the girls, and let's just hope that they can keep dominating this Ashes.
Yeah, Lana King. There is place for a wrist spin in Australian cricket, as the Lana King is proving. Just your answer there. Hope not. We're gonna, if we do that with the Barmy Army coming to see a show with Willow Talk, we're gonna have to ask people to hand their weapons in at the entrance before you get on stage.
Cricket's not a violent sport. You see no hip and shoulders in. Hang on.
Of course not. Of course not. Everyone
Maybe
behaves.
You do. Maybe it's changed.
To talk more about the Women's Ashes, let's talk to this guest. Joining us to talk more about the Women's Ashes is Channel 7 expert commentator and handy bowler on the side, Mitch Starc. Starkey, mate, commentary, watching not only Elisa, but the whole Australian team do one over England, which was fantastic. How did you find the experience of talking about cricket instead of being talked about?
It's much easier from the commentary box, isn't it? It's what do they say? You get 20% better when you go into commentary. So
45.
Geez. 45%. Jeez, I'd like to see my stats now. No, it was good fun. It was. I've done a little bit of it in summers gone by, but yeah, I mean, I've watched a lot of the women's game for a while. Obviously, watched this women's team be very successful. So it's always good fun to either be around them, but to watch and chat about them too was good fun. But always great to see Australia get one up over England.
Mm. Yeah, no matter what sport it is, Starkey, I couldn't care less if we're playing marbles, underwater hockey, who cares? As long as we beat England, and even better when they think they're half a chance. But before we get into serious stuff of cricket, I watched, your attire can be a really interesting thing when you go into commentary because they've got to assume this is how tall you are, this is how wide you are. Copes has been there for 5 years or more. He's got David Warner's pants on every game.
It's funny you say that because I got a message from the Channel 7 wardrobe a couple of days out and said, I've noticed you're very tall. We're probably not going to have pants for you. Can you bring some chinos or a few pairs and we can sort it out on the day? So I've had to come in with a couple of pairs of pants, jackets, a couple of shirts and sort that out. And meanwhile, Copes, as you say, he's waiting for the floods to come in. But I reckon there was 7 people at Channel 7 that were like, you're not going to have, 3/4 pants on like Copes, are you? So it's well known to Channel 7. And Copes, I don't know if he's got his own pants or if that's whether they're Davies or what, but he must love getting his ankles out.
It's a trend. I think he's making a fashion statement.
He's trying to be young, is he?
Yeah.
Why not? Hey, Mitch, did you? It was great to see her score some runs, and some of those shots in the second half of her innings in particular looked magnificent, timed off the bat. She hit one, I think it was a pull shot, it was through mid-wicket. It just went like a tracer bullet. But you can sit here and probably speak more about the form that you saw from your wife and also the rest of the team and any kind of feedback you got from them about your commentary.
It was very nice to the skipper yesterday. I thought I'd give her one game and then I'll start getting my own back for what she's been giving me for the last couple of test matches. So, I got no feedback from myself, but it was great to see. Obviously, her get to good knock under her belt after some time out with her foot and her knee. So she's been working hard to come back for this series and to find some form, which she has done. So it was probably quite a mature innings for her. She absorbed a lot of the pressure early on and then got back to a run of ball, or if not better, and played some nice shots. So led from the front, the skipper.
Yeah, hang on a sec. So you just said a mature innings for her. That sounded like a backhanded compliment if I've ever heard one.
I've got to get some stick in there, don't I? But no, you know what I mean. She's like, she's a very aggressive player, and I think it was a very conservative start to her innings yesterday. She watched the ball closely, played it under the eyes for a lot, there was it was a good opening spell from Filer and Bell, where the wicket was probably misread by everyone. It was a lot trickier than I think everyone thought it was going to be. So yeah, she was pretty mature is the right word. She was mature to start the innings, and then you started to see some of the shot making that she's known for, a bit more aggressive. She came down the wicket pretty late in her innings to hit over cover to the spinner, and probably disappointed not to be there at the end, but her 70 went a long way to the win.
It was interesting watching, actually, Starkey, and I've heard this England team, last time they played the Ashes, they threw a lot at the Aussies. That they surprised them. They were a lot more attacking. And I just see in this Aussie team now, after the World Cup where they didn't go through, they look hungry. They look like they want to make a statement in this Ashes series.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to do with that. Yeah, obviously the disappointment of the World Cup, coming off an Ashes retention, which means we still have the trophy. We didn't take the moral win, but we'll still take the Ashes trophy in both over in England. But I certainly feel like the hunger's there. They're a young team, but they've got some experience under their belt as a young team too. And whilst England might feel like they're closer than they are after yesterday with a couple of late wickets and a 4-wicket win, I still think Australia have got their depth's amazing. They've still got a heap of room to improve, and they'll really want to make a statement through the series.
And we'll continue our coverage of the Women's Ashes throughout the course of the next couple of weeks here on Willow Talk. Starkey, now for you that you can just sit back and relax for a week, maybe spent the whole week on a physio bench, I'm not sure, and in your spare time talking to us, sipping lattes. Can you actually tell us what the problem was for you during that five match series? Because we're hearing that you were sore and you had a little problem and you went off a couple of times. Were you 100%, 80% the last couple of tests? And what was the problem, if there was one?
Any fast bowlers ever 100%? No. There's always something going on. So no, I was okay. I didn't really know what it was. I wasn't too concerned because it was on my left side, which is not really a major concern, and my speeds were still up, so it didn't really worry me at all. It didn't worry me going into Sydney either. It was just more, I think, a bit of flapping from the medical staff trying to work out what it was. We've had a couple of scans during and since, and I think there's a little bit of disky stuff or maybe just jamming on my rib joint, but nothing to be concerned about, and I'll be still on that flight over to Sri Lanka, so be ready to go.
I tell you what, it would have been a gutsy medical staff to tap you on the shoulder, Stark, and say you're not playing in your home test match. Have you had a chance?
Well, they're pretty scared, I think, because they don't even ask about the scans anymore. They just send me the referral and go, off you go. They don't want to talk to me about it anymore. They might get my real response.
Mate, I'll talk to you about scans off air, because my wife, as you know, was a radiographer, and I used to get the scans done before the physio knew what injury I had, and then I went back to them what the injury prevention plan and when I could play. So you sometimes got to take the middleman out. But on that though, have you had an opportunity to sit down and reflect where this group's at? Like you've got every trophy. You keep you're getting better and better. You're starting to add some kids into the group, which I think's exciting, especially for you older guys. But have you had a chance to sit down? I know the fast bowlers are close, have a lunch together, and just reflect on how good a journey it's been the last few years?
I think we did a bit of that post-game. We were fortunate enough to, once all the members cleared out, we sort of gathered in the SCG members bar for a while. I think the Big Bash might have been on the screen as well, but we just sort of were there for a few hours. You know what Nathan's like until he sings the song, but just enjoyed, I think, the series win, had the trophy out there. We haven't had that for a while. So I think whilst it probably wasn't formal, it was very much just enjoying the result of the series, but enjoying the group. And as you say, we've been, whilst keep getting told we're very old, but we've been quite a successful period of cricket for a lot of this group have been together for a long time. So it's certainly not lost on us. The Border Gavaskar was one we sort of evaded us for a while, and now we've got a chance to win back. We'll win again the Test Championship in a few months' time anyway. So yeah, it was certainly mentioned a few times, not lost on us. It's a pretty special, not one that we all knew of until that night. I think it was mentioned by East after the series, but to have all the bilateral trophies and the Test mace is pretty special for this Test group, and one that, yeah, as I said, wasn't lost on us.
Sri Lanka is next, Starkey. You've had some success over there, 29 wickets at 18. What has been the key for you to get it right over there? And as a backup, has Nathan been giving you any tips about, just ripping a few off spinners perhaps? Or, I don't know, you might be a wrist spinner and just really change it up. It's pretty handy from that height, I'd imagine.
No, thankfully I won't have to do any spin bowling. So we've got Bo Webster in there, can do everything, can't he? He bowls seam up, he bowls spin, he can smack him with the bat. He's good in the cordon, so he can be the Mr. Fix-It if you like. But I think Nathan just wants me footmarks, if anything else. Throw the long spikes on for him. Blow me ankle out. No, I mean, on a serious note, I've had to do a bit of bowling in Sri Lanka, and obviously with the abrasive nature of the wickets and the squares brings about some reverse swing bowling. So one that our fast bowling contingent on tours over there has been mindful of and gets the work in. So we can all do that and have that skill. And for me, being a left armer, as I said, one part of it's footmarks for the spinners and Nathan in particular, but having that reverse swing and a bit of airspeed is something that's probably been my blueprint going over to Sri Lanka is that airspeed and reverse swing. Trying to take those early wickets with the brand new ball because a bit like India, it doesn't swing naturally for too long on those abrasive squares. So just being impactful in the time that I do bowl, because as we know, in that part of the world, spin plays a big part, and the number of spinners we play in the 11 will probably be dictated by the wickets we face as well.
Stark, you're obviously experienced in all forms of cricket now, but 94 Test matches. Does your role change much now with what this touring party looks like? Like, do you have to spend a lot of time in Dubai with Cooper Conley, Bo Webster, and just talking to them about what to expect in Sri Lanka and how to get a game plan, how to understand momentum changes, because it's so different to what they see here in Australia?
Yeah, I think those conversations happen quite organically. Certainly with the younger guys or the lesser experienced guys that we've had around the group in different forms over the last few years. I think that certainly happened naturally around conversations on the English tour we had before the summer started, when you had, Cooper was there, you had Fraser McGurk, a few of these young guys that hadn't played as much cricket or against the opposition as well. Those conversations happen around training, certainly happen around hotels on tours of this nature where I'm not sure there's too many golf courses in Sri Lanka, but there will be in Dubai, where I'm sure the boys will be on. Yep. And you got Steve Smith being captain this tour. He's captain in these conditions a lot. So, as you say, for us senior guys who've been around a while, obviously Nathan's played 130 odd Test matches and been really successful in those conditions. Steve, as I mentioned, myself and a few other guys, also obviously Uzi as well. I think we're sort of a group where those conversations happen a lot around training. So you don't have to, or we don't feel we have to have formal meetings to talk about it. They just happen around whether I'm bowling to Cooper in the nets and discussing what sort of my plan is for reverse swing bowling to him, or that things of that nature. So, I think it's a really, Sammy Constance, as we've seen, he'll probably just tell us what to do anyway, but he's pretty confident.
The game will move forward.
Yeah, they for sure will, won't it?
Well, Mitch, on Sam, a double-barreled question. Before that MCG test, was he ramping you in the nets to get ready for what he was going to do when he went out there? And secondly, how has he integrated into the group? Like, is he all of a sudden the vibes manager, or is he just totally being his own self? And you'll learn more in Sri Lanka, obviously.
Well, on that second question, he's very much been himself, which is great to see. I think I'd like to think this group's created an environment where you can be yourself, and if you're an extrovert, as Sam is, and very confident young man, not at all in an arrogant way, just in a very confident in himself. He's happy to say hello to everyone, whether he's met you for 3 seconds or for 3 years. And he's certainly been himself on and off the field. And I think we've seen that in his first 2 Test matches. He's a bit of a character and very outgoing. But in terms of facing him or bowling to him in the nets, I didn't bowl a ball to him. I still haven't bowled a ball to him since he's been around the Test squad. He's not someone like Steve or Marnus who bats for 15 hours. He was in and out before I even saw him in the nets in Melbourne. So he's obviously got a game plan and stuck to it. And I didn't even get to bowl to him. I don't think Pat did either. So I don't know where he got the kahunas to be doing that to Boomerang.
Or you know what he is by the sounds of it then? Smart.
Yeah.
Not facing you two.
100% smart behind his ears. The other thing you just said there, Adam, has he practiced playing a reverse sweep or whatever they do? If you did that to one of these 3 fast bowlers in the nets for the next 6 months, they'd say, I've got a bat pad 2 out, I'm going to practice my short pitch bowling. It's not worth it.
True, Mitchell?
Ask Steve.
I'll witness that.
Oh, fantastic. Well, mate, in wrapping up, Had's mentioned your figures there. So I've just done the maths as well, in closing with your good self today. We've taken enough of your time. But 94 tests so far. So we're hearing that the West Indies tour is going to be 3 tests. So you could play your 100th test in the West Indies at an average of what you're doing right now. You could take your 400th wicket, that if you keep your average up. So, I mean, if there's a place to enjoy yourself after your 100th test, I'm thinking the West Indies with a bit of Jamaican rum or something like that. So that'd be a pretty cool achievement if you did that. What?
Grab your Hemi in one test, have it in the first Ashes test.
In Perth, you reckon?
Did I say that out loud?
Actually, the last time I was in a test match in the West Indies, I reckon Brad Haddin gave $100 to the person at reception in Jamaica to go up the road and get us all buckets of chicken. And we sat in the hotel celebrating the series win before we went over to the Ashes. So that was the last time I played a test in the West Indies.
Because you were
pretty sure
drinking that fast.
He gave the person about a $55 tip because KFC wasn't that expensive either.
Mate, and we were drinking that fast. If we didn't have something in our stomach, it was going to be a really long flight from the West Indies to England. So smart. Experience beyond my years then. It didn't work for Sean Marsh. He was asleep halfway through his door with his pants out.
That's a story for another day, maybe in the lead up to the Windies tour. Starc, we'll leave it there, mate. Thanks so much for joining us. Look forward to your commentary coming from the City Power Centre on Tuesday. As we record this, it's Monday, but Tuesday is the second one-dayer. We've got the third one-dayer down in Hobart on Friday with the Women's Ashes certainly rolling. Most of all, though, make sure you don't mix up your wardrobe with Trent Copeland by the sounds of things. Good luck, mate.
I like to keep my ankles warm, but no, thanks, James. Thanks for having me as always.
Go well, Starkey.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you, guys.
So Mitchell really enjoying things there. Those fast bowlers, you've seen it after big series, 5 test series. And 3 test series can be taxing on the body, but I'd imagine 5 test series for those quicks, they must sit there on that last day after it's all done, win or loss, and just be covered in ice and just relieved it's all over more than anything.
Worst job in the world. Worst job in the world. What they put their body through is phenomenal. And Starkey has been so good for so long. And just going back to that, and he spoke about the Melbourne test when his side was sore. To get through the next test, his pace stayed up. He was bowled all the tough overs. He kept coming in for the 5 test series. And at the end of it, yes, you want to have a beer. You want to enjoy the success with your teammates. And they would have done that. They're a big part of the celebrations, those fast bowlers. But sometimes you just want to take a moment to yourself, sit on your couch and just do nothing for a couple of days and just let the pain go out of your body. So, mate, it was a great series win. Mate, the fast bowlers were outstanding, and they deserve a break now. They deserve time to keep the feet up. Starkey's playing a dangerous game. Mate, he said, I'm just warming in to have a go at the Australian captain. That doesn't end well. Not just on air, but when you get home. That doesn't end well. Happy wife's a happy life. We all live by that.
That's one thing I can definitely agree with you on, Bradley. Now, Big Bash. So we're entering the last week where a lot can happen. There's only 5 points between first and eighth on the ladder. Sydney Sixers on 11 points, joint there with Hobart Hurricanes, who are just behind on net run rate, but all the way down to Melbourne Renegades on 6 points. A lot can happen. We're recording this before Perth Scorchers, Sydney Thunder. I'll say that's a crucial one on Monday night, but they're all crucial going into this last week. Just want to talk about some headline moments before we try and guess who's going to make the finals. Steve Smith, 121 from 64 balls, a clinic against the Scorchers on Sunday arvo at the SCG. He's now got 300s in the comp, equal most, but has done it in 33 innings, and said after it, oh yeah, I can see myself playing the Olympics in 2028. Who can discount that? How good was that knock, Hads, on reflection?
On reflection, Steve Smith's game, for his first 10 years in 2020 cricket, he was seen as come in at number 4, no matter what situation, just fix it. You're that good. And it's probably cost him a bit playing in other franchises around the world, because he didn't have he wasn't playing that explosive game that we see now. He just had to fix all the trouble that we caused.
Yeah.
But the last 18 months, mate, he won the league in the US. He captained that. He opened the batting. He was player of the final, and it's all off the back of the way he's playing his 2020 cricket now. You talk about power game at the top. Steve Smith is brutal with his class. He hits the ball as sweet as anyone to all different parts of the ground. He reads the game as well as anyone. And he started to evolve this attacking game at the top of the order. And the one thing he said after the game, he said, when I'm finished from the longer form, I'm going to play a lot of T20. And I reckon a lot of franchise teams around the world went, I'll have a piece of that, because the way he's playing. But it was great entertainment. The whole crowd was there to see one man perform, and he did.
Can he be Australia's Dhoni, as in he's never going to retire?
Well, I tell you what, he can. He's earned the right to retire when he wants. Just the way he plays, he's a fit man. And it looked to me also as he's enjoying the way he's playing the 2020. I think in previous years, he's just done what the team's asked him to do. Now that we're seeing him really express himself. So mate, he'll play a lot of T20 cricket once he's given away the test stuff. And, mate, how good is it that not just having Steve Smith back, but all our internationals? If we could find someone, I know the schedule's jam-packed and they do a great job in the international summer, the Aussie players, but imagine if they were available for the majority of the tournament. It would be the best 2020 competition in the world if our international players played full-time. They had so much to it.
Steve Smith's innings, by the way, I got carried away there. It wasn't Sunday, it was Saturday arvo. I mean, that time of year.
Still partying.
Well, the days still blend all into one, don't they, at the moment? You don't know what day it is. Still. Adelaide Strikers. So this was Saturday night after that. They belted on, a road. Let's be honest, 5 for 251. It was a little like the first half of the IPL last year when they were playing on with small boundaries and favourable conditions, dare say, for batters, not bowlers. That was against the Brisbane Heat. Matt Short, he's done this before at this ground, 109 from 54. That was dynamic. Chris Lynn, 47 from 20, but he suffered a hammy, so hopefully not too bad for Lenny. But Matt Short, he feels like a player who's there or thereabouts, and if he gets hot at the right time, he will play international cricket. He's got named in this squad for the Champions Trophy, so adds a lot of depth for the national setup.
This is the way Tim Payne wants his team to play. And the tough thing for the Adelaide Strikers is Matt Short's been busted for the last few games. He's had a broken toe, but he came back in style. They were great to watch. Everything about what they presented there, that's what Tim Payne wants his team to play. And you're right, guys like Short will get opportunities in the not-too-distant future. He might even get the opportunity at the top of the order in this Australian Champions Trophy squad, because he does add outstanding in the field, but he does add a little bit with the ball. But this Big Bash is heating up. I was trying to go through. Sam asked me to pick my top 4.
We'll hold it because we're still getting through our moments.
Well, I can't pick it. I can give you every scenario. There's what I like about the tournament is teams have played 8, some have played 7 games, but everyone's still in the mix, and that's what I like.
Even the Melbourne Stars has.
Yeah, well,
this is remarkable.
Mate, they've won 4 in a row, and they're a team. If you have a look at Big Bash, one team every year gets on a roll just before the finals, and if they get in to the finals of Melbourne Stars, you don't want to play them. You don't want to play a team coming off 5 wins in a row. Maxi playing the way he is. Marcus Stoinis has had a good tournament. He's up there with the top run scorers. You got Duckett, the way he's playing. Peter Siddle has found a new leg. He's bowling around 145k. So the Melbourne Stars get in. They're a team that you'll be looking over your shoulder with because they got players on any given night that can actually take the game away from you. So it's red hot. This Scorchers Thunder game's massive. The Scorchers are in uncharted territory. They've lost 3 in a row. That's never happened to them. And the Thunder, after a great start, they're up on the opposite end. They're starting to fall off the perch and can't find a win. So they've got to hope their home ground brings some sort of success. So, mate, it's red hot at the moment, the competition.
You're taking this everywhere. Just back to the Stars quickly. So Maxi's had a good week. He's won a game, and then the next day he went to the Ash Barty Foundation Golf Day, won it. He won the golf day. He won the longest drive, which is no surprise to anyone. And then he backs up again at Marvel Stadium, which is probably the hardest deck to play on in the Big Bash at the moment, and certainly the hardest to be a fielder on as well, even though it has improved. And he tonks 90 from 52. The Gades, they've fallen off a cliff. Mark Steckety chimed in with a 10-ball over, but finished with 5 for 17. So we'll take the 5 for 17 off over the 10-ball over. And Novak Djokovic was there watching it and had. I do know with great authority that Novak Djokovic's son absolutely loves cricket, is besotted by the game. Like tennis, nah, Dad, I want to go. He went to a Big Bash game up in Brisbane as well, Novak's son, and they went to that one as well. So I don't know if the Serbian cricket team has got anything about them, but they could have a player in their midst in about 10 years' time.
Mate, it's good. And that's what the Big Bash is about. It's about bringing different people through the gate.
Hey, quick one. English report from the Big Bash, the big names that have come down and played. Jacob Bethel, Ben Duckett, Ollie Pope. Have they served up what they're meant to serve up so far? Duckett's been the best.
Duckett's been good. I think Ollie Pope, he probably hasn't had the impact we thought. Bethel is going to be, he's a player. What it has given us an opportunity is to get to know him and have a look at him because he's going to play a big part in the Ashes. He hasn't got the runs they would have liked from him, I think, the Renegades. But I tell you what, he can play.
You like what you see there?
Yeah, I do. And I like what I've seen in the Test series against New Zealand when he came in at number 3. So it was a good opportunity to get to know him and see what sort of style of play he has. Just a look before the Ashes. But Ben Duckett's been the pick.
For sure. And he's taken some good catches and crowd catches as well. I can't let this one skip through. In Adelaide, Sixers debutant Liam Haskett was hit for 6 by Nathan McSweeney, and it was taken in the crowd by Liam's dad, Lloyd, who didn't smile. He just pegged the ball back. I can only assume it was Liam's mum next to Lloyd. She didn't look too impressed either. I don't know what was going on there. But yeah, there's never been anything like that, surely. That was an outlier, complete outlier. Did your dad catch any of your sixes that you hit, Hads, back in the day?
No, he definitely didn't. He was sitting by himself. I knew exactly where he was, but yeah, that's rare ground, isn't it? His dad was unemotional. I thought his son had a great debut. I thought he bowled. He showed some good pace and some good skill, but his
apart from
that didn't offer much.
No, well, if you're catching your son's delivery and you're sitting 20 rows back, you're probably not over the moon. I wouldn't have thought. Oh, son, have the ball back. Great job. Fantastic.
I would. Where that game was going, and they needed wickets. I'd want it to hit the concrete I just said to Dad, let it hit the concrete. I need to get this ball to do
jump out the
something.
way. Anyway, have you got a finals finishing order for us, or you want to skip it through and you don't know because you're that confused where it's going?
Well, I'll throw it out there. I think this.
Let me guess
the
one.
Sixers.
Let me guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put the Sixers in
Oh, no way. Shocking.
because they're the form
No.
team of the competition for no other reason.
No way. Can't believe it.
Hobart Hurricanes.
Going good. Cabri Kid.
Massive game. Yeah, massive game. Scorchers v Thunder.
Mm.
I think the Stars are going to make it, and
Yep.
I think the Perth Scorchers.
We'll reconvene a bit later in the week and update what has gone on in the next few nights of Big Bash. But Bradley, we'll leave it there for another episode of Willow Talk. Thank you, mate. Catch you soon.
Thank you. Yeah, you're doing a wonderful job on the tennis.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Really do.
Yeah.
I'll try and convince Novak Sun to take up cricket, though.
I think you need to bring that energy to us sometimes, though, as well.
I was trying. See you, Bradley. Have a good one,
See you,
everyone.
mate.
Thanks for listening. Yeah, thanks for watching the Willow Talk podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't have to miss an episode wherever you are. And while you're at it, check out these videos up here. They're mostly good.